Good morning, everybody. This is your dog guru, Victoria, and today we're starting a new segment called Coffee N Canines, which basically means for the duration of me drinking my coffee, you guys, I'm going to go through all your questions and see what I can answer, quick tips, stuff like that. I see that some of you are already messaging us on our Facebook page, which is awesome. If you haven't checked it out already, it's facebook.com/doggurupodcast, and you can find us there. I've also got a couple emails today that I'm going to go through, and if you want to get in touch with us that way, it's dogguruhereforyou@gmail.com. Okay, so first question up, what do I look for in a dog trainer? Pamela Harris, that's a great question. So there's a few things that I always recommend. First of all, you want to look into their credentials a little bit. Did they go to school for this? Do they have a certification? What's their training style? By training style, I mean their baseline methodology. In my case, I always referred clients, if I wasn't working with them directly, to positive reinforcement trainers. There's a number of reasons for that, but the top of them being it builds trust and it builds a history. If you're looking for a trainer, go ahead and peel into their credentials, maybe even get some references from them, clients that have had success, what the long term looked like for those clients, did the training stick, what were the suggestions that the owners were given after the fact, and how reachable are they? Are you calling them constantly and not getting a response before you even start working with them? Run the other direction. There's plenty of great trainers out there that can help you out, and you don't want to get mixed up with someone who doesn't have time for you before you've even gotten started, because then when questions arise, you don't really have a resource. You don't have a safe place to call. Even when my company was super busy, we always returned calls. There was not a time where, and sometimes I'd get 30, 40, 50 calls in a day, depending on what sort of promotions we were running. So to me, there's really no excuse for not getting back to people who are calling you and reaching out. I'm not bashing other trainers for having different methodology, but what I am going to tell you is in the many years I've been doing this, I've never seen a dog that wasn't truly successful with positive reinforcement. It seems to stick better as long as the owner is consistent. The aids and training style are non-combative. They don't trigger more anxiety or a more aggressive response. And for that reason, and the level of success that we were able to achieve with dogs that had never been trained, were super aggressive, had a lot of anxiety, just all across the board. And then, puppies. Puppies don't need any heavy-duty training that scares them. So in my experience, this is just a really safe way of going about it that you can do at any age and really build on what you're shooting for. We're actually going to have a podcast specifically on how to select a trainer, what questions to ask, what to look for. So stay tuned for that because that'll be coming up next week. Next question. Okay, let's see here. Okay, Trisha Simmons asked, when is a good time to start training and when is it too late? This is a question I got all the time, actually, so I'm really glad that someone asked it early. So the first answer is as soon as possible. If you have a new puppy, it's never too early. Usually I wait till they're a little bit more mobile, so around 10 weeks, but the earlier the better. I've had success with dogs as old as 15 years old that had never received any previous training, dogs that had anxiety, dogs that had potty training problems that they just never really addressed or didn't have time to spend working on the problem and solving it. So truly, you want to start as soon as possible, but if you were to adopt an older senior dog and the dog has issues that you want to address, go ahead and hop into it. It really isn't too late. I worked with one dog who was 14 years old, had been a farm dog, no previous training history, had never really been in the house except on super, super cold nights in the wintertime. And then she was inherited by a really nice family who had an indoor dog, and she was terrified of everything. The sound of the coffee maker in the morning, the sound of a vacuum cleaner running, and she was used to being solitary, so adjusting her to being around other dogs was an effort unto itself. So with her, we started really small, and we took everything in baby steps so that she could adjust in her own time because she was a really sensitive dog, and if we had added too much pressure, even if it was just a strong no, she probably would have torn off and hid in the garage or wherever she could get to that was far away from us. And I think being able to read the individual in front of you instead of just generalizing training is really helpful. For me, my forte is reading dog body language. And I also have spent a lot of time evaluating their psychology. So I know what's going to happen and what they're thinking and how they're going to respond long before I ever ask for anything. Emma Thompson. Okay, so her question is, and I'm super excited to answer this question for her. Are you going to be writing a book? Okay, Emma. The truth is that I've actually been working on the context of a book for a long time. And one of the reasons I'm doing this podcast right now is to start getting feedback from people, what they're going to want to read about, what they're going to want to know. So this way I know what to include in my book beyond basic obedience and super easy stuff that you could Google faster. So to answer your question, yes, I am planning on writing a book. It's definitely on my radar and list of things to do. But in the meantime, I'm collecting information as well as recording some of my dog training experiences and behavior modification style. So this way it's as user-friendly as possible. Okay, what else do we have here? Okay, Brittany on Facebook said, what do you do about jumping? I have an 85-pound dog and he's definitely taken some people down. Great question. Okay, so I actually have a few tips for this, and it's going to require more attention from your dog and a few incompatible behaviors. So I always start off when I see a dog that jumps a lot by teaching them something incompatible, and the easiest one is teaching them sit, because obviously they can't sit and jump at the same time. Then I strengthen said sit. So basically what I'll do is once I have a sit cue down with a dog, I'll ask for that every single time they want my attention. When they're heading towards me at full top speed, I'll actually give them a hand signal for sit so that they have a visual idea of what I'm going to be asking. And when they are sitting, that's when I'll actually give them my attention. I'll pet them. Always pet them calmly. Always speak to them calmly, because you don't want to be adding to their energy. You don't want to be adding to the problem. And there's a myriad of different areas you can really practice this specific behavior in to get more success, because the commonality is really the boundary itself. So before I give my dog their food, I have them sit. Before I throw a toy, I have them sit. If they do hop up, I can always go, and then show them the hand signal for sit again. When they do it, then I give them whatever it was that they were trying to earn in the first place. But this time, they're getting what they want on my terms rather than demanding it. Okay, last question. As I'm finishing up my coffee here, this one came from Twitter. What is the easiest breed to train? That's an interesting question. I got this a lot when I was working with clients who had problem dogs, and they would, after they got these dogs, say to me, well, what breed should I have gotten? What would have been easier to train? The truth of it is really, it isn't a breed problem. It's a consistency issue, and different dogs and different breeds need different levels of consistency because some are more persistent than others. Another factor there is, are they working stock? Because if they are, they're highly motivated to get their way and do whatever it is they think their job is. For example, German Shepherds are wildly intelligent, but they can also be protective, and that is hardwired into them. So if you think about it, they are more prone to things like barking when the doorbell rings or if they hear something outside. It's not that they're harder to train. It's just that you need that consistency. They may need to work on that particular more than others, to reform it, to change it, to shift the dynamic a little bit. You also have to take into account an individual's personality and the family that they're in. Are all of their needs being met? Because if they're not, some things can be harder to reverse than others, in large part because they don't have an outlet for their natural instincts. There are breeds out there, though, that are what we refer to as more biddable. Golden retrievers are honestly an excellent example of this. They really want to please, so that can make training a lot easier. Even if you're not an experienced dog owner, generally golden retrievers are pretty easy to reach, and they retain information really well. All right, so I'm coming down to the very end of my coffee, and this is where I tell you that I want more questions, I want more stories, and I want to hear about what dog-related topics matter to you. You can find us on Twitter at ask_dogguru. Or if you're a Facebook addict, you can find us at facebook.com/doggurupodcast. I'm going to post a link where you guys can subscribe to our show so you can get new episodes whenever they pop up. And we're on several different platforms now. We're on Stitcher, iTunes, Podiant. So I'll include those links as well as our Facebook page. Go ahead and like our Facebook page, drop us a message, post a comment, whatever floats your boat, and be sure to subscribe to our page so that you get all of the newest content and share us with all your friends. This has been Coffee with Canines and your dog guru, Victoria. Hope everybody has a good day, and I'll talk to you later.